Well, welcome everybody. This is another segment in our series we're calling In the Game. With us today we have Stuart Campbell. Stuart Campbell, I really don't want to explain anything about Stuart. Stuart, welcome, and why don't you just tell us a little bit?
Hi Dave, thanks for having me. Hello everyone, my name's Stuart Campbell. I'm a former professional soccer player that grew up in the academy system at EPL club Leicester City in England. I started practicing with Leicester when I was around about 10 years old. And then the way the academy system was structured, as I was growing up, you'd pretty much sign Centre of Excellence forms at 12, schoolboy forms at 14, YTS, which are now stroke scholarship contract at 16. And then I was fortunate enough to progress all the way through the ranks and sign my first professional contract when I was 18. I made my first appearance for the Premier League team, Leicester City, against Manchester United at Old Trafford. It was a fantastic moment for me and my family. It was made even more special that the fact that I was growing up. When I was growing up, I was a Manchester United supporter. So to actually make my first appearance as a professional soccer player against them in their stadium was a dream come true. I then went on to play over 500 professional soccer games for Leicester City, Birmingham City, Grimsby Town, Bristol Rovers, and my final professional soccer appearance was for the Tampa Bay Rowdies. I also had the great honour and privilege of representing my country, Scotland, on 14 occasions, which was an unbelievable moment for not just myself, but for my family. Although I was born and raised in England, my mum and dad, they were Scottish. They were born in Scotland and they moved down prior to me being born. So I was brought up to be Scottish, and it was a fantastic moment for the whole Campbell family to see me represent our country.
That's certainly a storied career. One of the things I guess I forgot to mention that you are coming to us from the west coast of Florida, the greater Tampa Bay area. Stuart is a current director of coaching and player development for Sporting Tampa Bay FC. After your playing career, what led you into trying to move into this coaching role?
Well, when I first signed for the Tampa Bay Rowdies in 2012, I signed as a player assistant coach, which was a really, really good experience for me. I held that role for 2 years. After that period of time, we sat down and agreed it was probably best for me to step away from playing. As hard as it was, and as much as I miss it even to this day, it was a right call. My body was taking far too long to recover, and my body wasn't doing what my mind was telling me. So we sat down, had a great conversation. I was offered the full-time role as an assistant coach, which was a really, really great experience for me, working under Ricky Hill and Perry van der Beek. It's a role that I really enjoyed. And then a couple of years after that, I was offered the head coach's role at the Tampa Bay Rowdies. I never had any real desire to be a head coach. However, when the opportunity arose, it almost felt like one of those opportunities that I couldn't miss, because I didn't want to sit here in 4 or 5, 6 years thinking, oh, I wish I'd done that. I basically didn't want to sit back, looking back, wishing, and I took it. And that was a real eye-opener about being a professional head coach and all the stuff that goes along with being that, and how you have to manage lots of different personalities, characters, and different environments.
So as you end up your career in Tampa Bay and you end up moving into the coaching role, from there you transition into the youth market and with youth clubs. How did that come about?
Yeah, it was always my ultimate intention. We moved to the Wesley Chapel area 8 years ago. It was quite a drive for me, in all honesty, down to St. Pete where the Rowdies played, because originally it was a 2-year contract. I didn't think it would be 7 years, however long ended up being there. So it was quite a haul. So we come up here because we identified the area as a great area for us to raise my daughters. I have 3 daughters, 2 of whom play soccer, and they play for Sporting Tampa Bay FC. So once I knew my professional career would be coming to an end, either as a player or a coach, as a family, we decided that would be my time involved in professional soccer. That would be it done. I had a fantastic career. I lived the dream. Every single person in Europe, a lot of the world, when they grow up, they want to be a professional soccer player. And I was one of the lucky few to actually achieve that dream. So we basically decided as a family, when the time comes to an end, we're going to stay bring a family up in the Wesley Chapel area. And I felt that with my background as a player growing up in the system, my background as a coach, I thought I could really come into the club and make a big difference on developing the players.
Well, with that said, with what you're doing in your organization right now, in this certain time of uncertainty with the COVID pandemic, what are you doing to stay connected with your organization now that nobody can be on the fields and coaches can't be with their teams?
Yeah, well, I can't thank Corva enough, Dave, and you personally, because as I said, it's been a real big help and a big plus. And I also think it's been a welcome distraction. Obviously, the current climate that we're in is unprecedented, and hopefully we're never in this situation again. But with your help, it's allowed myself to stay connected with the coaches. It's allowed the coaches to stay connected with their players and teams. And most importantly, with the skills and different videos that you've been sending me, it's allowed all of us to interact with each other. And I think it's made us all realize how fortunate we are to be playing sports.
Yeah, or at least having some outlet that we can try and get, some frustrations of the day released. With your experiences, both as a player in England, an international player for Scotland, and then, coming and playing here in the pro leagues in the US, and then moving on to the coaching ranks, from your perspective, what do you see as the biggest challenge for the American youth player?
I think one of the biggest challenges is you have so many other big sports. Soccer has so many big sports that compete with it: baseball, football, basketball, hockey, to name but a few. And I think a lot of children, they'll maybe go, especially at a younger age, and try different sports out to see which one they feel the best suited to. And when it comes to soccer, I think they maybe miss a little window there, because I really believe that the earlier that you can get hold of a boy or a girl and start to implement the technical skills that's required to be a soccer player, the better. As we said, we're teachers, we're coaches. It's just the same as being a teacher. If you can get hold of a kid at 4, 5 or 6, they're like little sponges. So if you can start to implement what's right, what's wrong regarding technical ability, I think you'll see unbelievable rewards 3, 4, 5 years down the line.
Well, in that same vein, from your own experience as a player, growing up in the youth academies, what would you say is the emphasis at the young ages that was placed on you, and how that maybe translates into how you're coaching players today at your own club?
Yeah, it wasn't just at an early age, Dave. It started at a very young age, but then it carried me all the way through my professional career. I can't overemphasize the importance of technical training. As I said, that was drummed into us from a very early age, and I have conversations with different coaches at the club, outside of the club, and they speak about technical training when they think we should maybe pull back and start focusing more on the tactical side of it. My answer is, yeah, there's obviously a huge place for the technical side, but you should never ever pull back on doing technical training, whether it's a 6-year-old boy or girl, or whether it's a 33, 34 best player in the world, Cristiano Ronaldo or Lionel Messi. You look at them and I guarantee you every single day they'll do some type of technical practice or technical drills.
Yes, and so we sing that same sentiment. I mean, you're only going to be as good as your ability. You're never going to be able to exceed your ability, and maybe in a world standard, maybe that's what some people kind of look at the American player. We're athletic. We actually can, have great stamina, but is it our technique or is our tactical that lets us down?
Just on one of your points, the athletic ability of the American player, I think it's better than anybody else in the world. So if you really focus on the technical side of it, we're going to form some unbelievable players, because, as I said, the athletic ability seems to come natural. And if we concentrate from a really early age on the technical side of it, the rewards will be absolutely phenomenal.
Well, also with that said, what do you see as the biggest challenges in the American youth system?
That's a good question. The big thing for me is obviously there's quite a lot of clubs. For where we're located, there's a lot of clubs, and one challenge that I see is you get players that tend to jump from club to club. They'll play at one club for 1 year and maybe go to another for another year, go there, and then ultimately they'll end up back where they are. If we can try and create the culture where you're almost playing for your local team, for your one team, that is going to benefit you so much, providing you have the right structure in place. As I said, starting from the young kids. I know you and I have spoke about it. When you're building a house, you don't start with the roof, do you? You start with the foundations, which are the young age groups of 4, 5, 6, 7-year-olds, whatever your youngest age group is. And if you give them the platform from that age, you'll be absolutely amazed the impact and the quality of player and the quality of team that will come out of your club in the later years.
Yes, and we do see that too often. Is unfortunately, a kid in the U.S. it would be typical for him to have 3, 4 club jerseys in his closet by the time they're 18, compared to sticking with one. I think that probably has twofold problems. One, the commitment of the player, but 2, the structure of the organization where they were. Maybe that changed. Maybe it didn't evolve at the speed that the player evolved. How do you think that in your own organization that maybe you can overcome that?
As we said, we think we've got a good structure in place where the expectations, the roles, responsibilities of the players and coaches is pretty clear. And I'm super confident from my experiences, as I said, as a player and a coach, that it is going to improve the most important person, the players. We all want to improve the players because ultimately that will help them achieve whatever goals they have.
Well, how important do you feel in your own club or other clubs around the country with the coaching part of it? Do you feel that there's enough coaching education that is out and available? Is it being utilized? Do we need more? What's your viewpoints on that?
Yeah, I think, as I said, I've been in the US for 8 years and I've seen a tremendous growth of soccer with the boys and girls side. And I've also saw a tremendous growth in the coaching education part. I think US soccer are doing a fantastic job with the path that they're going down. And I think the generation of coaches that are now taking their US coaching licenses are going to really, really impact the up and coming players of the future, because I think they're doing it in the right way. They've got a clear path, a clear plan, and they're all pretty much on the same page. And I think you mix that in with what you guys are doing at Corva, and I think there's going to be a really, really strong generation of US players coming through.
Well, we hope that plan works as well. At least that's been success in our history since 1984. Well, our time in this segment has come to an end. I really, really appreciate your time and giving us your insights on your experiences and your viewpoints. I do want to point out that even though we're in this time of self-isolation, we want a big shout out to hygiene and making sure people are washing their hands. You're continuing to make sure you're cleaning up your surfaces of where you may be eating or working. And then also with the social distancing. It's something that is unprecedented in history, but hopefully if we work together in this, we can knock this out and get beyond it so we can get back to the fields.
Yeah, I agree and encourage everyone. And Dave, from a Sporting Tampa Bay FC side, we can't thank you enough for everything you've done for our coaches and players in this really, really tough time.
Well, with that said, we will sign off and we look forward to our next segment of In the Game. And we want to thank Stuart Campbell, Sporting Tampa Bay FC, and we wish everyone a good day.